Welcome everyone to the Tech Cafe for Cyber Safety. Your presenters and facilitators this evening are Natasha Adebiyi from Instructional Technology, and then Richard Stevens from Family Engagement. Our session etiquette this evening. To maximize this webinar, it is best to log in using a laptop or a computer. Please make sure that your microphone is muted and remains on mute for the entire webinar. If you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A section. The chat is being monitored by Title I Parent Center facilitators and Instructional Technology. The questions are being recorded, and some of the answers will be provided during the Q&A.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Richard Stevens, and our webinar outcomes for today. This is what we hope that our participants and our parents will receive. Participants will develop an understanding of what their children are doing online. They will learn how to keep their children safe when they're online, learn how to teach their children to make smart choices when online, and start a discussion about internet safety that they can continue with their families and others. Today's webinar is being presented to you by the Parent and Family Engagement team. This team comprises the Department of Family and Community Empowerment and the Title I Office of Federal Programs Regional Parent Centers facilitators. Our Title I Parent Center facilitators are listed here. We have one per region. So each region is represented by a Title I Parent Center facilitator. And then the Department of Parent and Family and Community Empowerment, which is led by Ms. Marcia Coward. And we operate in the Division of Community Empowerment, Innovation, and Partnership under Ms. Melissa Harris. This webinar is also going to be conducted in collaboration with our Instructional Technology team. And you see here we have Ms. Natasha Adebiyi, who is our Instructional Technology Specialist, who will now take over our webinar.
Thank you so much, Richard. Good evening, everyone. As he said, I am Natasha Adebiyi, and so I welcome you here. So let's talk about cyber safety. First and foremost, it's important that we think about and realize, how do children get online? So we know that they use mobile devices, including cell phones and tablets. They also have access to laptops and personal computers. And then those video game consoles also have access to online, such as Xboxes, PlayStations, and Nintendo Switches. So what do our children typically do while online? Well, first and foremost, we know that they conduct research and do homework, but there are also a ton of other things that children do online, such as visiting virtual worlds, and that's including games like Roblox and Minecraft, those things where they're in an augmented reality where they get to do whatever the game has, but it's a virtual world. They can play multi-user games, text and message with each other, view and post videos, they download music and create and upload artwork, and they also can post profiles and interact with others on social media sites. With that being said, that leads to potential online concerns and threats. And so that's going to be our main focus of tonight's session, helping you to be safe when using devices at home. We're going to look at cybersecurity, screen addiction, cyberbullying, disturbing content, and sexual predators. First and foremost, cybersecurity. It's so important that we monitor and protect our devices so that way we are not infected with viruses and spyware on our devices that can corrupt our machines. So spyware and viruses can come through downloads, emails, peer-to-peer networking, infected websites, or clicking on bad links, and it can also lead to phishing schemes. So phishing, and talking about those schemes and scam artists that try and enter our emails and our text messages. So phishing is defined as fraudulent practice of sending emails purporting to be from reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information such as passwords and credit cards. So we often see that with phishing where it'll be a fake person online in your email asking you for your personal information. Now, one thing to note is companies will never ask you for your personal information or even a password via email or via the web. So if you see something like that come to your email, that's already a flag and could be some suspicious behavior. You also want to read your emails very carefully, and you want to be suspicious if they are asking you for anything that's personal or any password information that they're asking you. And typically they'll claim to be a bank or online store, or it could even be someone within your own organization. So you want to be skeptical and you want to look closely when you're reading your emails. If you do see a suspicious email, you want to make sure that you do not click on any links, as that link can lead to a virus or spyware and could cause them to corrupt your computer and get your information. Students also have an access online through their Outlook, which is their email, where if they have or see anything that is suspicious, they can report it to information technology for further investigation. So you want to be careful with phishing. Additionally, it's so important to protect your information. We stress to our students in the classroom, and we also want to stress to the parents why it's so important that you protect your passwords and share that with your children. Please make sure that they do not share their password with others, including friends, family. They want to keep that information safe. You don't want to use the same password repeatedly because someone can find out over time and then end up having access to materials online. You also want to avoid using your birthday, address, or phone number, as those are things that can easily come up in conversation, and someone who's a predator can listen in and try and steal your information based on your birthday. You also want to get in the habit of changing your password every 180 days or on a regular basis to keep that going and to keep it changing, so that way no one can easily access your information. If they do access it, then you can change it, and that can kind of block them out of that. Screen addiction is becoming an increasing behavior among our young people. 47% of parents said their children spent too much time in front of screens. And so we want to think about, well, how much screen time does your child get right now? How do you know if your child is addicted to the internet and social media? And a lot of our children are also becoming dependent on our technology. The way that apps are designed, they're designed to keep you engaged and to hold your attention and lure you to stay on longer and longer. So we have to be mindful of the things that our children are doing and how much time that we give them. In fact, it's also causing health conditions, that screen addiction. It can also cause sleep deprivation. Now, 7 out of 10 children miss out on sleep because of online habits. And so we know late at night, we think they're asleep, but they're really on their phone and they're on Instagram or Snapchat, some form of social media that's keeping them up at night. 60% have said that they have actually neglected schoolwork as well. Many children ages 8 to 11 are using social media to seek acceptance and support, determining self-worth on likes. It's so important that we talk to our children about not equating their self-worth to likes. A lot of our students are faced with that challenge right now of being accepted through likes. So we have to just be intentional and let them know and establish their self-worth, so that way they don't become so addicted to their screens and tie that into their self-worth, because we know that can be detrimental. Children are also becoming less interested in anything that does not include their device. So here are some tips for you all parents to help limit and reduce that screen addiction. According to the American Heart Association, children under 5 years old should not have any more than 1 hour of screen time every day. And children above 5 should have no more than 2 hours of screen time every day. So we can reflect back on that last question. How often or how much screen time does your child really have? Less time means less exposure. And so we'll talk about that later on in the presentation, about different types of content that our children are seeing when they have access to the internet. So less time on there means less exposure. We want to also encourage alternative activities, different things that they can do away from the screen. We want to remove devices from their bedrooms, so that way they don't get sleep deprived and they can get their schoolwork turned in. And we want to lead by example. So it's so important that sometimes we put our own phones down, so that way our children can see us integrate or doing other activities and just being involved in other things and seeing those alternatives that they can do without having their phone attached to them. And maybe consider trying mobile-free meals, where you guys sit and have a good meal, have a good conversation, and put all phones away so you can really interact. And that's a time where you can really build their self-worth and their self-confidence, so that way they're not associating that with their likes on social media.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Natasha. Thank you. And I agree with you on the mobile-free meals. I definitely see the benefit, how when you put down the phones, you're able to actually communicate with one another, focus on each other, and learn about each other's day. I think that's a big part. You were going to add something else?
No, I was just going to mention that I was passing it to you.
Thank you again, Natasha, Miss Adebayi. And we're going to talk now about cyberbullying. So cyberbullying, many people wonder, what is cyberbullying? You know, is anytime we get someone picks on someone, is that considered cyberbullying? Well, cyberbullying has three main tenets, and that is it must be deliberate, it must be repeated, and it must be unwanted. And if it's repeated and unwanted, then it is deliberate. So these three things: repeated, unwanted, deliberate, harassing, and threats. Harassment and threats. So look at these three examples right here. The first one, no one likes you. You know, that's someone that sent this message. They sent it anonymously. You know, no one likes you, you know. The next one, this person put their name on it. They said, it's me. And they put it on someone's Facebook page for all their friends to see, where they told them they're worthless. And then the third example, this person is not directly confronting someone, but what they're doing is they are spreading rumors. So they're saying, check out this picture of Chris last night. So let's talk about these three examples and see how they fit in cyberbullying. Cyberbullying categories. Inadvertent, remember we just said that cyberbullying is deliberate. So how can something be inadvertent? Well, the inadvertent bullies, they like to pretend like they didn't know. Oh, I didn't know it was cyberbullying. And they may have not known that the name for what they did was cyberbullying, but make no mistakes about it, it is 100% deliberate. And oftentimes these persons are responding to something. So they feel that they've been provoked. Vengeful angel. So vengeful angel is someone who considers themselves maybe not the direct target of something wrong, but what they're doing through their bullying is they're trying to get someone's back. So they're saying, because you have wronged someone else, I'm now going to bully you. And that is still wrong. Then we have the mean girls. Now, Mean Girls, this is a play on the movie Mean Girls, all right? It's not saying that this category is only for girls. No, it could be girls, boys, or those who choose not to identify. But what we're saying is that this is a group. So now, unlike the other two examples, we see a group. This person often relies on the group. They need a group to feel stronger, and they're only going to bully in the presence of others. So they look at, if others are around, they want to feel important. They also do this as a source of entertainment. So it may not even have anything to do with the person that's being bullied, but it is more so about them and their ego and their status in their group. Power hungry. Power hungry. Now this person, they feed off of fear. So the power hungry bully, they want you to react. They want your child, your children to lash out. And the more they lash out, the more they respond, then the more the bully feels empowered and is like, what I'm doing is getting to this person, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna see how many different ways I can get to this person. And so they're looking for the reaction. Now, revenge of the nerds is an interesting one, and it's actually one of the most prevalent forms of cyberbullying that we see. Revenge of the nerds is almost like the power hungry in that the person feeds off of the reaction and they want you to know that they're doing this. But revenge of the nerds is often someone who is being bullied during school. So they're being bullied, what we call schoolyard bullying. They're being bullied in person. And now they take it upon themselves to create a persona. They often hide against fake name, fake profile picture to create a persona online that they can now use to, get their revenge and actually turn the tables, as we say. Now, those are the categories of the bullies, but what are the different types of bullying? So, flaming. Now, back when I was in school, we used to call this, joning each other or playing the dozens. So this is flaming. This is going back and forth. It's a verbal fight. And so we are using our words to kind of, attack one another. It becomes bullying when someone is repeatedly doing this. It's like your child, every time they get online or every time they have an exchange with this person, is flaming. That's the bullying. Harassment. So harassment doesn't mean, it differs from flaming in that you don't have to necessarily say something wrong or negative about someone in a harassment. It's just the fact that you are messaging them, tagging them, or interacting with them repeatedly after you've been told not to. And so we often see this aggression in when someone likes someone, when a child likes another child, and the other one student has said, hey, I don't want to be bothered with you, and the child can't accept no and continues. That's harassment. That's a form of cyberbullying. Cyber stalking. So now we've moved on from harassment, and now there's a level of threat. There's intimidation. I've told you to leave me alone. Stop bothering me. Stop sending me messages. Stop liking my pictures. But now this person is continuing to do that in such a way that it makes the other person feel afraid. This is cyber stalking. And denigration. So denigration was that third example, the third box that you saw at the bottom of the screen on our cyberbullying page, where they weren't confronting the person face to face or directly. What they were doing was they were spreading rumors. So they were gossiping, they were saying negative things about the person to others. That's denigration. Impersonation, the child pretends to be someone else. So now we have one student pretending to be another student, using their picture, their name, or certain things, and posting things that would harm the student that they're pretending to be. So things that make them look bad, but also things that might get them in trouble. So want to look out for that impersonation. Then outing and trickery. Outing and trickery is a very difficult one for our students. This is something that's very bad. We often seen it lead to self-harm and even to suicide. So it's a very serious matter. Outing and trickery is when one child befriends another child, and they convince the child, the first student, to confide in them, to give them, some of their secrets, tell them something that only a trusted friend would know about them. And then the bully uses this and tells the world, or tells all their friends, and tells Facebook and Twitter and Instagram this private information that the first child shared. And so we have a real issue here. It's a betrayal. It's, oh no, I wasn't ready for this. I didn't want the world to know. How can I face the world after this? And it oftentimes leads to a real dark place and despair. And so this is one of the worst forms of bullying. Like I said, it can lead to self-harm or even suicide. It's very serious. So we want all our parents to be on the lookout for this, and tell our children to watch out who they confide in. Watch out for those who might want to use certain information against you. Now, exclusion. It's been said that one of the most severe forms of child abuse is neglect. Well, this also translates into bullying, in that one of the most severe forms of bullying is exclusion. And this is when, instead of confronting someone, the bully will rather just kind of, they say, we're going to just push you away, not going to have anything to do with you. No one's going to interact with you, and we're going to pretend like you're not there. And this can be very painful to children, especially if they're in a new surrounding, at a new school or something of that nature. And so we want to be on the lookout for, is your child being excluded purposely? Are they being targeted? Are they being left out of online groups, conversations, message boards? Are they allowed to participate? And here's a good question for you parents. Is your child the bully? Is your child the cyberbully? So how would you know? One thing we want to look for is aggression. Is there an increased level of aggression in your child, even when it comes to rules in the home? So if you decide that you want to say, I want you to go to bed, let's turn off the TV. We're not going to have screen addiction in our home. You're about to go to bed. And the child lashes out, becomes more aggressive than normal. And when they speak to you in a way that a bully would speak to their victim. So we want to look out for that. How does your child speak to you? But also, how does your child speak to you about other children? Do they feel comfortable sharing stories about school in which that involve embarrassing moments and involve hurt or harm to other students? You may be like, I don't even know this child you're talking about. They're not your friend. Why are you telling me what happened to this child at school? And see if they get delight out of, telling you about what happened. They may be looking for a response, a positive response from you, that what happened to this child was good, because maybe they're the ones that did the bullying. So how do we protect against cyberbullying? Never respond to unkind remarks. Don't participate in cyberbullying. So never respond to unkind remarks. Remember, some of the bullies, they feed off of that response. They want you to respond so they can do what we call go harder. So they're looking for that response. But if you never feed into it, you never give them that response, then they will walk away because they're not getting that power. So they'll walk away and choose someone else to bully. But don't participate in bullying. You could be on this side of the bullying today, but tomorrow you could be on the other side of bullying. So never even participate in it. Say you don't teach your children to not be a part of the culture of bullying at all. That way, when bullying occurs, you're not going to look for your child. They're going to likely go away from him because he's not playing that game. All right. Next thing we want to do is look at these right here. Block the cyberbully, tell a trusted adult, save the post. All right. Now, yes, we do want to block the cyberbully. Yes, we want to tell a trusted adult, but I would change the order on this some. I would say save the post. Very important, especially when we talk about threats, cyber stalking, we talk about harassment. You want to save that post. You want to have that post so that your teacher and the school administrators, they can see what's going on. They can identify the student, they can investigate. So save the post. I say screenshot it and then block. And then tell a trusted adult. Also, notify law enforcement if appropriate. To me, this is a big one. We do not want you, as a parent, to come up to the school and confront a child. Do not come up to the school and confront someone else's kid. What I would like for you to do is talk to your child and then make sure you screenshot, block, and then I want you to tell a trusted adult. And so your trusted adult would be your child's school administrator, the teacher, but also law enforcement. I know many of you like, law enforcement, it's just bullying. I don't want you to take anything for granted. If you see a threat of physical harm in messages to your child, your child is being threatened, physical harm, I want you to notify the authorities, that is your child's school. Now, if it's not involving school, if the child is, a neighborhood child that but doesn't go to DeKalb County School District school, then or doesn't go to the same school or in the same grade as your child, contact the police, contact law enforcement, let them know, and see if there's somehow you can get to the bottom of this, because unfortunately, sometimes threats are empty and then sometimes they are very real. Disturbing content. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about disturbing content. What do you consider disturbing online content for your children? Now, I'm really asking you this. I want you to type it in the comments. I want you to type in your chat. What do you consider disturbing online content for your children? All right, now make sure to keep it clean. Make sure to keep it clean in the comment section in the chat. But I want to know, what do you consider disturbing online content? Now, I'm sure many of you have said, something along the lines of sexual activity or even nudity. But how many of you type something along the lines of graphic violence? Graphic violence. Sometimes violent imagery can be very disturbing for our children, especially depending on their age and what they've already been exposed to. We're seeing now that younger and younger children are being exposed to graphic images of violence far too early. And sometimes these images and that exposure can lead to a desensitization around violence, and that can lead to bullying. So it's all connected. And so when we think about disturbing online content, we also want to consider the source. We want to consider violence. We want to consider things along sexual lines, but we also want to consider anything that you feel your child is not ready to consume. In what ways do you protect your children from disturbing content online? So again, type it in the chat. Let us know. In what ways do you protect your children from disturbing content online? All right, and while you're thinking about that, I want you to think about this last question. What are the parents of your children's friends doing to protect their children, and your children from disturbing content when your children are with them. Okay, so this is a big one. You have stated what you do to protect your children from disturbing content online. But do you know what your neighbors are doing to protect their children? The reason why I mention this, the reason why I ask is because let's say you want your children to stay at your neighbor's house for a short while. So they're going to go over there after school and wait until you pick them up. They go over there all the time. They're friends, the neighborhood kids, they're all friends. And so they go over there. Now, let's say you have set you've set a bar and a threshold limit for nudity. So with your house, your children can't view persons that are opposite sex in bathing suits. They can't see images of that on TV. That's a no-no in your house. But let's say your neighbor sets the bar at actual nudity, like full nudity. But bathing suits are fine for their children. So when your children go over there to play with their kids, mom over there says, hey, it's fine. This movie is PG. Everything is fine. What if your children are now exposed to that and come home and tell you about it? They come home and they tell you about the experiences they have over there. You're upset, right? So we want to avoid that. We want you guys to talk to one another and find out each other's limits, your thresholds, your bar for what is acceptable. All right. Talking about disturbing content. There are bad parts of the internet just as there are bad parts of town. So what can you do to talk to your kids about this? These are two books that we have chosen. Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior. This is for preschool and early elementary. And then you have Good Pictures, Bad Pictures for older elementary, middle school children. All right. And of course, you can have parental control software. There are child-friendly search engines and bookmarks that you can use. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sexual predators. Sexual predators masquerade as children or kindly adults. All right, I want you to pay attention to this image. You see the hand reaching through the screen with the candy. This is an image of what we call grooming. Grooming. So this is the way these adults befriend children. They build this camaraderie, this level of trust with them, and then they make them feel comfortable to add that level of trickery. They themselves are bullies. So they're going to add this level of trickery and trick your children into coming with them, meeting them, or doing something inappropriate. Safety from sexual predators. Now, we've already discussed that there are virtual worlds such as Roblox and things of that nature that we get our children on, and video games, but you don't know who they're talking to on the other end. It could be an adult pretending to be a child, and now your child is revealing to them their name, their address, phone number, school name, and now this adult has all that information. We also don't want you to post or send photographs of your children in public forums. Teach your children, don't post or send photographs of themselves. And teach your children to choose a nondescript screen name. This is very important. What's the power of a name? So we don't want you to post pictures all over Facebook and Instagram of your children on the first day of school. They got their nice sweater on or their jacket and it's got a crest on it. And the crest has the school name. So now the school name, and the caption says, you know, hey, it's little Johnny's first day of school at this school. Oh, we're so excited about the third grade. Okay, that's way too much information to give anyone, yet alone people on the other end we don't know. So we want to avoid the public forums. It's okay to share with some friends. You can put online, make it friends only. But also I want to share with you about the nondescript screen name. What's in the power of a name? You don't want your children to use their personal or family nicknames when they're online. Don't use your personal or family nicknames in any public forum, even when they're out away from being online. For an example, imagine that your child's nickname is Scooby, and Scooby's at the park. Well, Scooby's playing at the park, and then they hear someone say, "Hey, Scooby." They turn around, a guy walks up, a man walks up. "Who are you? Do I know you?" The man says, "Yes, Scooby. You know, I'm a friend of your dad. He told me to come pick you up." That is horrible news for Scooby, because Scooby doesn't know whether to trust this person or not, because they're telling themselves that, well, maybe this person is a friend of my dad's because only friends of my family know me as Scooby. So we want to be aware of that. Want to learn how to use privacy settings, become familiar with the websites our child visits, read the privacy policies, and settings should always be private, no public settings. If a stranger contacts your child, do not respond. Teach your child not to respond. Teach them to contact an adult right away. You want them to contact you ideally, but if they trust their uncle more, or if they feel more comfortable talking to a coach or a teacher about it, it doesn't matter. We want them to tell an adult. You will find out. The adult should tell you, but we want them to tell an adult. We want it to be exposed as soon as possible. And then screenshot, and then block the offender. Notify your internet service provider. When it comes to stranger danger, as I call it, stranger danger, sexual predators, this is a little different than bullying. Your internet service provider can actually implement tools to get IP addresses and things of that nature. Also, notify Cyber Tip Line. This is a very important website, www.cybertipline.com. Very important. Notify them. We'll get the feds involved, and we will find this person who is contacting children. Internet safety tips for parents, just to recap: get your child to sign an internet safety contract. We have the contract we're putting in the chat for you guys. This is a contract that you can do. There's a children's version that your child can do, and it's a contract that just goes over these rules we've covered today, and it just says, as a parent, I'm going to do my part, and as the student, you're going to do your part, and we're going to be cyber safe together. Keep the computer in a common area of your home so you can see it at all times. You should be able to look over your child's shoulder and see, are they on Roblox or are they doing homework? Set a time limit for computer use. Become familiar with the sites your child visits, and know your child's online friends. Like we said, become familiar with the sites your child visits. Well, these are some of the sites that your children can visit. All right, WhatsApp, I want you to know about that, because this app has a level of encryption to it. So if you have a cloning app where you can see your child's messages through your family plan on your phone, you won't be able to see WhatsApp. So I want you to be aware of WhatsApp and that some messages may be hidden from you. Also, this calculator app, the calculator down there with the %sign, that is what we call the vault. So you're actually able to have photos and messages hidden in this app. When you press on it one time, actual calculator comes up. But if you press on it and hold the button for a certain amount of seconds, then a new window comes up asking for a password, and then you can access what's being hidden on it. So your child may be hiding things. If you're not sure about this app, you can Google search calculator, put the % on it, and say apps like this, or apps like calculator %. And for more tips, we have breakdowns of each of these apps. You can download brochures. It tells you everything you need to know about each of these apps at www.nationalonlinesafety.com, and you will get this website in our references and resources.
So the safety rules that we want you to keep in mind for your children is that they should never give identifying information. That's so important to protect themselves and protect their devices. Remind them never to write or post anything that they wouldn't be comfortable with the whole world seeing, because once it's out there, it is out there and it can be recovered. Never share their password. Treat others online the same way they want to be treated. And to never open an email or click links in emails that seem suspicious, and that includes downloading as well. If it seems suspicious, just teach them not to click on it or open those things up. We want to remind you to tell your children to teach them to be smart when using the internet and their electronic devices. Stay safe. Do not meet up with anyone that they've met offline. And be careful accepting files online so that way you don't get the viruses. Make sure that the information they're reading is reliable, as we know that so many things can get posted online, and just because it's online does not mean it's true. So check it, make sure it's reliable, and tell an adult if something is going on, or if there any suspicious activity going on their computer, or if they're being cyberbullied. So if you see the QR code, it says scan me. If you open up your phone to the camera and hold it up to the screen, you will have access to our resource form. It's a one-page document that has a list of links with additional information that will help further the discussion of cyber safety. So that way you all can be intentional with your children to reduce that screen time, but also talk about important use and how to use it effectively when online. And for further information, you can contact Mr. Richard Stevens. His email address is there for you. So you guys can grab a picture of this screen and it will go in the chat or the Q&A section for you as well. We thank you so much for listening in. We hope that it was informative, and we hope that you guys will walk away feeling empowered to teach your children about cyber safety and being secure online. Now it's time for our Q&A portion, our question and answer portion, and I'm going to hand that over. Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you so much for participating in our session today. I believe all of the questions were asked inside of our session as our wonderful facilitators were assisting this day. Thank you, Natasha, for providing us with a rich wealth of information about cyber safety. And thank you so much, Mr. Richard, for sharing with us about the bullying and the enhanced screen time.